Aloha aina, and welcome to Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. I'm Mehuke Kahu Cardwell, and here we are today in Pololo Valley on the island of Oahu, in our continuing search to find out what it takes to turn armchair observers into active participants to create a brighter future for Hawaii. So if you're curious like we are, come on along with us as we visit today with Hinaleimoana Wong. Aloha, welcome to Voices of Truth. So nice to have you on the show, Hina.
Aloha mai no kaua. Mahalo ia ai ke kona me iau e hele mai ai kukaka me ilio no I kaua e biliena no ke ia maukuleana no I o kako. Mahalo.
Mahalo yoi.
Mahalo.
Hina, we wanted to have you on the show today because, as you know, the purpose of Voices of Truth is to inspire our viewers who are out there watching the show to say, by golly, if they can do it, I can do it. And we all know that along the way of the path, there's lots of obstacles that people encounter, speed bumps along the way in life, as it were, that sometimes can stop people or not stop them depending on how determined and dedicated they are to achieving their goals. And we wanted to have you on the show today because you're somebody special who has overcome a lot of obstacles in your life, as well as some discrimination and being ostracized. I can't even say the other word, so I'm going to say being ostracized. So why don't you share with us a little bit about that?
Mahalo. In my life, as I reflect upon the different things that I've done and I reflect upon the different events that have shaped who I am, for me to hear you say the words to be ostracized, discriminated against, and to be a special person, for the native context, for the context of my ancestors, the word is mahu. And really it's no secret to my peers in the community and for any of the viewers out there. Mahu is the term that my people applied to someone who might be considered in the Western world a transgender individual. So to be an individual that has come along this pathway and that has endured some of the things that I've been through, I am very fortunate to say that I'm doing okay and that I've risen above the current that could have swept me away. I rose above the words that were hurtful, the words of discrimination and prejudice, the words of faggot, you queer, you homo, and I really, I'm very lucky that some of the things that helped me to be who I am today, like my grandparents, I find a comfortable place to be. Yeah.
You identify yourself primarily as Hawaiian, yes?
Yes, I do.
Although you're Hawaiian, Chinese, and...
I'm Hawaiian, Chinese, Portuguese, and English.
Ah.
And so when you think about my ethnic background, you know that it's a clear mix of the different ethnicities that came at the turn of the times here in Hawaii. The ethnicities that came because of sugar plantations and the different, types of work that came out of our island. So when I go around in the community, certain things that touch me about each culture, they bring fond thoughts and memories, but most outstanding is being Hawaiian.
Yeah. Now, you were raised by your grandparents, yes?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. Share with our viewers who they are, who they were, and what impact they had on you.
My grandparents have had some of the most profound effect on my life. And my mother, Georgette, her parents were John Furtado Matias of the Pali family and the Kawahinekoa clan from Honokohau on Maui, West Maui. And my grandmother Mona Kananiokala Kialoha is of the Kialoha family here, and we also have ties to other islands. But that's my Hawaiian side of the family. And on my father's side, my father Henry, his father was also Henry, Kunlim Wong, and my grandmother Edith Gamkyu Lo. So those are my grandparents whom have had a real lasting impression in my mind and in my heart as to who I am, what I do, where I go, and how I do things.
Okay, so you were raised by your Hawaiian side grandparents, yes?
I was raised by both,
Yeah.
but when I think about being a Hawaiian in this community, I really can only reflect on my Hawaiian grandparents and growing up, you know, a great part of my life in their home, and especially the influence that my grandmother has had on my life.
Tell us a little bit about that, would you?
From as far back as I can remember, I would say that my grandmother instilled in me the importance of being Hawaiian, the importance of standing up for being Hawaiian and for things Hawaiian, and for doing things that we consider a part of our culture with integrity. You know, she was always a stickler to make sure it was done right. And obviously, as with anyone else, there's more than just one way to do things right. But when my grandmother said to do things right, in the Hawaiian community, there are certain things that are pono and certain things that are not. You know, things that are appropriate and not. So she was really, really adamant about these things, especially when it came to Hawaiian language and the use of Hawaiian words, and also, eh, you know, emphasizing the things of our culture that were very obviously Hawaiian.
Wow. And that was from when you were about this tall, huh? And that obviously had a very profound and deep and lasting effect on you, helping to shape and make who you are today.
Yes, in fact, I remember as a very small child, one of my earliest memories of being with my grandmother was her showing me how to write. And I really didn't read or write, you know, very much because I was too young. But I remember her taking my hand and guiding my hand, and her words to me were that she needed me to listen well to the teacher and to be a diligent student and to study hard and to try my best, because one day she had hoped that I would become a teacher.
Wow. And you did, didn't you?
I did. The last 4 years I found myself teaching full time, kindergarten through 12th grade, at two schools.
Great.
One school here on Oahu, Halaulokahi Public Charter School, and another on Kauai, Kula Aupuni Ni'ihau Akahelelani Aloha, on the west side of Kauai. And that, by the way, is also one of my other sources of true Hawaiian influence, and that is from the Ni'ihau community that has, for the last 15 years, embraced me, you know, as part of their family network. So really, I didn't think of becoming a teacher until I was put in this situation with these schools.
Hina, tell us about how, when you were growing up, you talked earlier about the discrimination that you encountered. How did you deal with that? See, because that could go two ways. That could either really beat somebody down or could actually help make them stronger. So share with us, if you would, how was that for you? What did you do with that?
If my life had taken a different course and I had actually listened and taken to heart the things that were said to me, the hurtful things, I probably would have gone down a much rougher road and perhaps been very estranged from my family. But again, that aloha that my grandmother gave me said to me, I didn't need other people to validate who I am, nor did I need to seek other people's approval. So, as I shared with you earlier, the the topic of mahu, especially within the Hawaiian community, is a real sensitive issue.
Mhm.
Now, there are some people who just love mahu, and then there are some people who really can't stand mahu. When I encountered people who don't like mahu or aren't comfortable, if I did not have the aloha and the strength and the resilience that I found from my grandparents' care for me, I probably would have failed to just that kind of mana that those people have, and it brings you down, it eats away at you, and
It can crush you.
it kills you.
Yes. Yes.
It really would have been a different scene had I listened to the pono ole things, the hurtful things. Yeah.
But instead, what?
Instead, whatever I did, I went forward and said, I don't need anybody's approval because my grandparents have already given that to me.
Mm.
And so, for me to walk in the Hawaiian community and do the things that I found myself doing, it took a lot of that strength. It took a lot of it took a lot of focus and a lot of energy to remember that no matter where I go and no matter what I do, everybody's gonna look, and I just have to hold my head up. So when I have had to lead my school students down the road, political rallies, political marches, it's that strength that I relied upon, and that ties in with my grandmother. You know, she wanted me to be vigilant about Hawaiian things. She wanted me to become somebody who would do good things for the Hawaiian community.
You know, I love what you said about that you didn't need other people's approval because you already had it from a member of your family whom you looked up to and for whom you got your source of grounding. That's really phenomenal. And you know, that's the type of message that our viewers love to hear, because that's the thing that all of us need to stay strong. Every day when we go out in the world, everybody, the world today can beat us down and crush us. But when we have something like what you just shared, that's strengthening, that's enlivening, and that helps build us up. So you're involved in Mea Hawaii, Hawaiian things, culture, language. Tell us about that and why it's important to you.
Right now, I'm the current. If you could apply a title to my position at Halaulokai,
Which is one of the schools you teach at.
yes, it's one of the schools that I teach at. I am the cultural coordinator for the school, and I'm very fortunate to work with children from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Wow.
And it's given me a very unique insight to different age levels, and that same aloha carries through. And so being somebody who found confidence to go ahead and just do things, you know, that anything to the world that I could be offered, I went and did. So pursuing Hawaiian studies and things Hawaiian has allowed me to now teach it to the next generation. And I can't say I am a resource for everything under the gamut of being Hawaiian, but what little I do know, I try to impart that upon my students in the same rigor that my grandmother did. So through my hula and oli teachings, of which I like to compose my own, I impart historical points of interest to our students, social studies, political perspectives, and Hawaiian protocol to my students. So that's what I find myself doing.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, you teach at, what is it, 2 schools?
Yes,
And one of them is a charter school.
both of them.
Both of them are. Okay, explain to our viewers, because we have viewers both here in Hawaii
Yes.
and around the world watching the show live streaming on the web. Explain to our viewers what a charter school is. What makes that special, unique, and different?
My personal viewpoint on what a charter school is and what makes it unique and different is that it is a choice for education. So if any of you parents out there were contemplating what kind of school environment you wanted your child to be in, then you'd really have to take a look at what kind of teachers do I want for my student, what kind of curriculum do I want, and what kind of person do I want my student to be. Because at our charter school, we emphasize, in addition to Western academic oriented goals, we also emphasize social goals and an adherence to Hawaiian cultural values, protocol, and we try to promote a Hawaiian manner of being. So
Hawaiian manner of thinking too, yeah?
thinking.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So the subject matters are delivered through the Hawaiian way of thinking and being, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, that's one of the primary reasons why I didn't go and apply for a private institution, of which there are many schools that I could have gone to work
Sure. Yep.
at, nor mainstream DOE schools, because I didn't feel that that was quite my arena.
Yeah, DOE meaning Department of Education.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know, there are many different perspectives, and people could say, well, this is better and that's better. And rather than say one is better than the other, it's simply a choice. It's a choice. You make a proactive choice to send your child to public school, private school, and public charter school.
That's great. So a couple of things you were saying that you do is deliver your lessons, depart your knowledge through two things, hula and oli, which is chanting. And so you said earlier that you create your own chants, you write your own chants, don't you?
Yes.
That's great.
And that's important for me, because if any laborer, if any skilled tradesperson knows the foundation of what they do, then they should be able to recreate it and build and develop. And likewise, you know, if we were to build a house and it was a very simple house, if we understood that principle, we could take it and make it into a beautiful mansion. Yeah, if we had the right tools.
Yep.
So I like to take what knowledge that I have and what I've gained, and to make sure that in the format that my kupuna would hopefully be happy with, I haku, you know, I compose. So that's, in fact, I did that right before I came here.
Wow.
That's part of the reason why I was running late to our meeting today, because I found myself, you know, going back, and just as the lines came, I had to get it down so that I wouldn't forget it.
Well, Hina, you know what my next question to you is going to be, which is, would you favor us today, our audience here, with an oli, with a chant?
Sure. Havena o ke ao malama I Hawaii, mai kahikina o kala I hae komo I le hua ka I makamoana uli a kanaloa, a heloa ka helena na kamakua I malama. O kalama o kalani mala ela e ke kia I haia lo no ku ule o no na aha I aloha ia ai ka mana o no ka pono ko Hawaii nei ai ka poli o ka aina la ka wahine uli ke alo ya mauinui ihi ka pulau maewa lana ia ka ula molo ka inui ahina he ki ina I ka lei o ahu ka kuhi hewa kau mai kau I ka mawa e lua lani moku humo e na pawe he o ni hau o ka helelani nani wale ia ke hina o na kupuna aloha ku umele e o Hawaii I ko inoa e o Hawaii nui ku auli.
Wow. Wow. Very powerful. Very powerful. Feel it here. Feel it here. Mahalo.
Mahalo ni yaoi.
Share with our viewers what you said, what you chanted.
No oko e kapo e a oko e ho'olo he minei ke la mele no oko kapo e maupopo nei ka ole Hawaii maupopo ni a oko ke la mele e ho'o hano hano ana I ka nani o ko kākou pai aina ko kākou mau mokupuni e walu o ia ho'i nā mokupuni mai Hawaii ai ni I hau a me ka mana o ka lani ai no inuna no ho'i o kākou a ka mea nānano e kia I a alaka I a malama mai ke I mai nei a kākou. For those of you who don't understand Hawaiian, that mele is my composition that was composed on Hawaii Island, and it talks about all the 8 major islands and honoring not only the beauty of our lands but our resources and the greater mana that is above us, and that with reverence and honor for our elders and for that which we respect as our culture. That's what that mele was speaking about.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. So powerful. So powerful. And isn't it true that that's what the Hawaiian culture is all about? Being grounded on the Aina and knowing the power of everything around you. Share with our viewers, if you would, what are some of the basic lessons that you want to impart to your students? What do you want them to leave your classes with so that as they go through life, they have that grounding too?
I'd like to leave my classes with this thought, and that is for anybody who has been my student, they know what I'm going to say to them. And perhaps I could say the same thing to the general community. And that is to do things in a community that bring respect, do things that bring you pride and dignity, and especially for the Hawaiian community, do things that will bring pono for our people. Do things without being afraid of what other people think. Do things without being afraid of necessarily what you perceive as the immediate fragilities of our future. Do things that would truly make our kupuna smile.
Wow. Very powerful. Very powerful. How do you see the future of Hawaii? If you had a magic wand and you could create the future any way you wanted to, what would it look like?
I would like to see my people empowered. I would like to see my lands live again. I would like to see my culture embraced and empowered and respected. Not in the context of what outsiders and people from foreign cultures view as appropriate, but from the context of our view. And
The Hawaiian view.
the Hawaiian view.
Yes.
Now, Hawaiian view, what is the Hawaiian view? There's many different
Yep.
ways to consider the Hawaiian
Yep.
view, but I'm speaking very specifically on a political level.
Mhm.
And for me personally, because of my upbringing,
Mhm.
because of my family now, I cannot see our people continuing under the current political system. I just cannot. I cannot see our people continuing to accept status quo and being afraid to venture out beyond the box into territory that they're not sure of, especially when they haven't made too clear of an understanding for themselves. What are the parameters? What does it mean? What are the ramifications of getting out of the box? And I think that politically, we are we are the ones who need to design and implement and control our political sense of who we are and how we govern ourselves. And it needs to be without any attachment from any of the current political structure. It cannot be within that framework, nor can it be according to when the current political structure says, we now say you are.
Yes.
We now say you may do this or that. That is not empowering. That is like asking a criminal who comes into my house, may I go to the restroom now?
Mm-hmm.
That is like saying, may I go to the table now and eat? Or may I go out now? That's not empowerment.
Yeah. We have a couple of minutes left. Do you have any final words for our viewers who may be watching us today and saying, well, that's great for her, but I don't know if I can do that? What would you say to them?
If I, someone who by other people in the community may consider me mahu, if I, my grandparents' grandchild, my parents' child, if I, my student's teacher, if I, somebody who just likes to kick back and have fun too, if I were to say to all of you out there listening, my thought, that would be to one, be active, be proactive, be vigilant, be concerned, and trust and rely in the fact that you can make a difference. And it only begins with you stepping out of your house. It begins with you going and attending a function or an event, not only to learn more, but to see and to not necessarily look at things that go on in our community with only one set of glasses. You need to look at things from as many different angles as you can.
Yes.
And think, how is it that if that person over there can do it, how can I do it? So if somebody sees me going out and doing something, I want them to say, well, maybe I can't do it in the exact same way, but how can I lend to the purpose?
Great. Wonderful. Hinaleimoana, mahalo piha for being on Voices of Truth today. You are a true inspiration. We're so glad to have you here. And to our viewers, mahalo for being with us again. This has been Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's future. I'm Mehu Kekahu Cardwell. It's been brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. And until next time, ahui ho!